Hey guys, it's Jim here. Welcome back to... Wait a minute. What is this spider web of a menu? Well, that will be the new grind system that will be implemented in the coming campaign merging update. And no, it has not been implemented yet, this is the test server. Which is what this video is going to be talking about. With the campaign merging comes the new grind system and the new currency system. Now first off, campaign merging. As the name suggests, all campaigns are merged, so that means there's no more Moscow Soviet mains or Normandy Axis mains. And that was one of the biggest problems, which was imbalanced weapons and vehicles and their opposite counterparts. Like in Moscow, where the sniper pre-war Kanareke is the counterpart to the sniper SVT-38. Like what the f. As well as segregation between players. Like the Germans in Normandy and Berlin are kicking ass, meanwhile the Germans in Moscow and Tunisia are leaking ass. So the campaign will more or less get rid of the imbalance as well as the segregation, so the matches are a little more balanced instead of just constant curb stomping. And of course, this also means time period accuracy is completely thrown out the window, which may not sit well with some players. Now speaking of merging, what about the squads? Well, the squads are now wrapped up in their respective factions. Unfortunately, I was kinda hoping they will merge the squads also according to their tier, level and class, but no, only some of their upgrades. So now it's a coherent mess of squads that are not even arranged properly, nor is there like a filter system to help with this. Have fun finding the squad you want to grind. Hopefully the devs address this and add like a tab or a filter so that it's easier to find what we want. And I know there's a send to reserve tab up here, but I'll explain later why I say hold off on that. Next up, the grind system. And yeah, it's intimidating and confusing, so I'll explain. It's basically like in War Thunder. You fancy a weapon or vehicle, you select that weapon or vehicle, then play a few matches to grind said weapon and vehicle. And then once you have enough points in, you can then buy the weapon or vehicle. Simple as that. Only issue is that there is quite a lot of weapons to grind before you get what you are actually after. For one, Western Allies and Germans have two nations merged into one. So Western Allies has both US and UK weapons and vehicles. The Germans have both German and Italian weapons. Hell, why not just throw in French and Romanian weapons in there as well while you're at it? So there's a lot to grind for. Really wish they would fold more of these weapons together as alternate grind options, especially in bolt action rifles, since they more or less perform exactly the same. And the next thing, see this progress bar up top? It says tier 1, which I believe is the matchmaking thing the devs were talking about last time. Tier 1 setup fighting tier 1 setups and so on. I can't really tell, the test server matchmaking was fucked. Although we could really use a display or indication as to what tier am I getting matched into without needing to constantly check the grind tree. Anyway, what exactly do I mean by progress bar? See this number on the right? This means that you need to grind the set number of weapons or vehicles before you move up to the next tier, like in War Thunder. And that means, say you want a Beretta model 1918. Why is this 900 RPM submachine gun in tier 2? I have no idea. Anyway, you want this gun, but since it's in tier 2, you cannot rush grind all these different submachine guns and shotgun, then move up to get the Beretta M1918. You have to grind a few others before you can continue on for the Beretta. Which is not gonna sit well with most players, especially those who put hours into War Thunder. You're kinda forced to grind some weapons or vehicles you may not care too much about in order to progress. Now, I kinda understand you want to encourage players to get other weapons to build up their squads, but if you want to implement this kind of tier progression, may I suggest easing up on the grind per weapon or vehicle, like less XP needed or more silver earned per match. This way the players won't be forced to play like 3 to 6 matches, with some matches lasting as long as 40 to 45 minutes, just to unlock one weapon, and more matches just to buy one after. Now the good news is that as you progress the different tiers, and as you can see, you start to need less and less weapons and vehicles to progress each tier. It's the minimum to progress at tier 3 as low as 7 weapons. Thank God for that. Especially since the higher the tier, the more you need to grind per weapon. Speaking of unlocking, see this people icon that appears on some of the weapons and vehicles? That means there's a squad that comes with this weapon or vehicle. You can claim it with the weapon and then, I don't know, start grinding the squad. Or not. And use the weapon or soldier class for other squads you're building. Or if you don't care, you can just ignore it completely. Just be careful that I know that it says claim reward is 3000 silver on the button. That doesn't mean you get 3000 silver, that means you spend 3000 silver to claim the reward. YouTube Telegram scammers should hire these guys. Oh, and you no longer get one weapon for free after unlocking a weapon for the first time anymore, you have to buy it. Start searching YouTube guide videos before buying anything. Anyway, speaking of squads, why I say hold off on sending spare squads to the rear is that some of these weapons may need an upgrade. However, you cannot upgrade them until you A. Have the weapon rank unlocked. Why is this still a thing, by the way? It's just unnecessary extra steps. And B. Have the lower cost per upgrade. And unfortunately, that means you may have to grind a specific squad if you want to upgrade a specific weapon. Otherwise, you're more or less stuck with the same tier 0 or tier 1 weapon or vehicle quality for the rest of your life. Unless of course you really don't mind. Tier 0 or 1 quality doesn't always mean shit. And finally, speaking of upgrades, XP and silver grinding. Now the good news is that so far, again, no repair or replenish cost in sight, thank god for that. I will still keep an eye on this considering the fact that this is Publisher and Kaijin we're talking about, or Hill the Snail. Anyway, you play the game, the main XP you get, originally for the campaign level, you will now go to the weapon or vehicle you selected from grinding. As well as how much you perform in the game will also determine the amount of silver, the new currency you'll get. And this clip here is just me playing a match casually. I wanted to see how hard is it to grind for each weapon or vehicle, so I didn't go sweaty tryhard mode, I didn't try to get first place, I didn't try to get all the battle awards. I did get the best machine gunner, but that's mainly because nobody seemed to be spawning the MG squads that day. Just playing the game normally. I got mid place on the team, plus victory multiplier, and 1 battle award. And this is how much I earned. 23,800 XP and only 2,500 silver. Doesn't seem much, but it's not too bad for tier 1 and 2 stuff, but going up to tier 3 onwards, it gets grindy. Like hey, I want an M1A1 Thompson. Oh. Especially the silver part. One of my concerns is that this can be an easily abused feature for monetization. You make players grind the asses off just to earn barely enough silver for one weapon, then offer them premium stuff to grind more. Especially with this new system where you need to pay for tanks or planes now, I feel that the amount of silver earned needs to be a little more than just 2,500 silver from playing casually. You really cannot expect the same results every single match. Like tier 1 or 2 is one thing, but more than likely players will be looking to getting tier 3 or 5 weapons or vehicles instead. When I say World War 2, how often do you guys think about MP40s, STG-44s, PPSH, Thompsons, M1 Garands? Obviously you want those guns, right? And not the British 10 guns or the Italian Beretta SMG, although they are pretty slick. And those guns I mentioned, all tier 3 onwards, so there. Now one last thing, if you're watching this and have several hours in Enlisted already, as Dev said, they will not be wiping everyone's accounts. So that means everything you grinded, everything you unlocked, everything you bought so far will still be there. However, anything you didn't grind or buy will more or less make gaps in your tech tree, as you can see, and these gaps can pose a problem. For example, I grinded this Storm Pistol, but I skipped this 80 squad's previous weapon, the Panzerbuchse 39, and because of that, I cannot claim it yet. I need that squad's previous weapon in order to get this one. As well as if you already have points of research into one of the weapons, but it became a higher tier weapon than any previous weapons, you cannot research into the weapon anymore until you get the previous gun. As well as the weapon tier changes, you will still need to comply with the progression requirement. So here I want to grind the Lanchester, I cannot, because the previous tier did not meet the requirements. And finally, if there's a squad you originally started the campaign off with, like this Assaulter squad that has the MP34O or the MP3008, apparently you need to grind it again. But thankfully though, it seems that you can still buy the weapons or a brand new squad you already unlocked, so thank god for that. And that's all I gotta say about the coming merging update. And now my advice currently is that if you're starting the game off now, it would be to start grinding for whatever weapons or vehicles you're interested in under campaign level 9 and below. Like M1 Garand on Normandy at campaign level 7, MP40 on campaign level 8 on Berlin, or the DP27 on Berlin campaign level 9. Whatever you're interested in, get it now, but they're still cheap and easy to get to. And with that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!